Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. I want to welcome you back to another edition of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. In this series, we have the privilege of speaking with leading brands about what they are seeing and hearing on the front lines of customer, channel, and brand loyalty. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Matthew Seagrim. He's a Senior Vice President at Cineplex. Matthew, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Happy to be here, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Looking forward to getting into the discussion about Cineplex. So you guys doing some very unique work. But first off, we like to start these on a personal level. We'd love to know a little bit about yourself, kind of your history, and then your position at Scene, and also maybe a fun fact, a passion that you have outside of Scene.
Sure. Thanks, Mark. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure to catch up. As you said, I'm the Senior Vice President at Scene. I joined the company about 7.5 years ago in 2015. And over the last number of years, I've been overseeing the growth and transformation of this program from where we started as really a movies only program to an entertainment program and now to a full-fledged lifestyle program. So it's been a pretty dramatic path over the last number of years. As for a fun fact, I never anticipated I'd be in this space. I actually started as an engineer and expected I was going to be building spaceships in my life. Clearly, I'm not doing that. But the one thing I did find is, this merge of art and science, of design and creativity, comes to life in this field in a really unique way. So I find there's lots of parallels that I can draw from where I expected to be to where I am now.
Okay, great. For those who may be unfamiliar with Cineplex, can you give us a short overview of the company?
Yeah, sure. Scene is really unique. We started as an organization back in 2007. And the business really grew out of a meeting in 2006 between Cineplex and Scotiabank. For those who aren't familiar with the two organizations, Cineplex is one of Canada's leading entertainment companies. They're the leading film exhibitor in the country, and they're a pretty diversified business in film and location-based entertainment, and have a significant media business as well. And at that time, Cineplex had tens of millions of people coming through their doors, but they didn't really know anything about who their guests were. Scotiabank, on the other side, is one of Canada's largest banks and a really significant player in this space. And at that point in time, they were looking for new and innovative ways to engage with their customers and to bring in new business. And so when the two organizations met, they recognized that there was this space between them and an opportunity for the two of them to join forces to build something that neither one of them was going to be able to create on their own. And so that collaboration led to the creation of Scene. It was a jointly owned loyalty program, was really focused on rewarding moviegoers. And what it did is it brought together the strength of the two companies. And no one really knew where it was going to go. Nothing like this had ever been done anywhere in the world. But the early success, really pleased and surprised everybody, surpassed everyone's expectations. And the program has continued to grow and to evolve over the last 15 years, and in a pretty dramatic way in the last 2 years.
Okay. You mentioned some of the changes you went through during the last 2 years. It was a challenging environment for a number of brands, but you guys did some amazing things. Transformed the company, continued to transform the company, did a lot of thinking about engagement. So would love to know a little bit about the evolution that you saw recently, but also throughout the history of Scene.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. COVID was certainly a challenging time for our business. Our brand was really about bringing people together in person to spend time with their friends and family, whether it was, movies or dining or in-person entertainment, professional sports, music. I mean, these were all the categories that were massively impacted by COVID. But as it happened, we had a lot of these initiatives underway to really transform the business that really predated COVID. And so really through the pandemic, we're able to really focus our efforts on not only engaging people through the pandemic, but also making sure that we were taking the opportunity to, come out the other side with something dramatic and new to share. When I joined the program back in 2015, the brand was really well loved. It was, Canada's, leading entertainment program at that time, and but it was really it was a movie's first program, very focused and really designed to engage with Cineplex's guests and to drive movie going. We had over 5 million members. Like, this was not a small program at that time. But we were hearing from our members that they wanted to have, more ways of engaging, more ways of being rewarded. And so back at that point, we recognized already that there was an opportunity to take this brand somewhere new. And so in 2015, we built a new vision for the program to become the leading entertainment program in the country. And we retooled the brand position, we retooled our go-to-market strategy, we built out new partnerships. And really listened carefully to organizations that we wanted to partner with about what they were looking for in a partner in terms of, data and analytics and the ability to drive marketing. And so we rebuilt all of these components in ways that would allow us to unlock and deliver more value for all of our members and for all of our partners. And that led to, an even like a second chapter of growth for us. So, by the time we closed out 2019, we had doubled the program. We were over 10 million members, so more than 50% of households in Canada, and had really engaged in the base. But, at that time, Scotiabank had kind of two programs in market. They had this jointly owned program with Cineplex. And then they also had Scotia Rewards, their own proprietary program. And, as the bank and ourselves sat down to look at, these two initiatives and to look at strategic options, really recognized that, the two programs were very complementary. The benefits were, largely separate. The financial services products that were associated with both were separate. And while there was overlap in the membership, there was a significant number of members that were members of one or the other. And, we really recognized there was an opportunity for us to build something new by bringing those two programs together. And so we did that last December. We launched Scene Plus as the combination of Scene and Scotia Rewards. And it's been a huge, huge initiative. It was more than 2 years in the making to bring this thing together. And we've been really, really happy with what it has done for us. And it's been a big move for a few reasons. The first thing was that it really enhanced the program for our members. So every single member, either in Scotia Rewards or in Scene, as the program came together in Scene Plus, every single one of them had, an expansion and enhancement of the rewards in the program. And, importantly, it also meant that for Scotiabank, Scene Plus became their enterprise loyalty strategy. So it's a significant move for the bank, and places a tremendous responsibility on, my colleagues and I to make sure that we're delivering on the bank's objectives. But the third thing that I think is really important is, this expansion of the program really came with it an opportunity to, build the data in the program, to build the marketing capabilities, to build the personalization capabilities so that we could, serve the broader mandate of the program. So, last December, and we talked about this earlier this year, Scene Plus became, a much broader lifestyle program with movies and entertainment, dining, travel, shopping, merchandise. We expanded the number of financial services products that are associated with the program. And we've been thrilled, and our members have been thrilled. So it was a big, big initiative. It really positioned ourselves in a place for future growth. So when you and I spoke earlier this year, I hinted at the time that there was more news to come. And the more news came to life last week as we announced the next chapter in our transformation when we welcomed Empire Companies as a new co-owner together with Scotia and Cineplex, and we launched Scene as our first step in 4 Canadian provinces.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the recent addition of Empire to the ownership group? I know it adds a national brand to Scene Plus, the loyalty program. How does the addition of the Empire group add value, some skill, some heft to the customers of Scene Plus?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It's a great question. Over the years, as we went out to our members and looked for their input on where we could take the program, repeatedly, we heard our members say that they wanted the ability to earn and redeem points for everyday meaningful categories like groceries. And, when we launched Scene Plus last year, we expanded into travel, we expanded into, some categories of merchandise. We added new ways for people to engage with the program more frequently. But with Empire joining, we are adding over 1,500 locations to the program and, key categories like grocery and pharmacy and liquor. So we're super excited. They have joined as a 1/3 owner of Scene, like Scotiabank and Cineplex. We are now their enterprise loyalty strategy. And Empire is a huge business. It's one of Canada's largest employers, and they've got leading brands like Sobeys and IGA and Safeway that are leaders in their market. And so for us, this is like we're catapulting ourselves into the next chapter. And, as moving a loyalty program into grocery is not a small undertaking. This is a hyper competitive, fast moving category. Customers' needs are so personal. And so for us to be able to deliver in this space, we've had to really make major investments in our team, in our technology, in the capabilities that we have to deliver personalization and content at an unprecedented scale for our organization, and also to drive orchestration across all the channels, not only within Scene, but also among our owners and partners. So, the potential is extraordinary. We're super excited about the opportunities for us to grow the business. And, we've really built Scene, years ago with data at the center. Trying to platform ourselves so that we could build a really rich understanding of the customer right at the center of the business. And with this expansion, we're combining data from every part of the organization, from financial services to grocery, our digital channels, and the kind of data that we're gathering through this expansion is going to really allow us to serve members in a truly meaningful way.
Okay, excellent. As you added the great partner, obviously you have a vision for the program. What are your goals? What is your vision for the program? Where would you like to see the Scene Plus program go?
Yeah. If you'd asked me a few years ago where we wanted to go, we had a really clear vision at that point in time. And, by about 2018, we'd kind of blown through that vision and set a new vision. And now we've blown through that vision. And so we're setting new goals for the business. For a 15-year-old program that's already in more than half of the households in the country, we're truly just getting started. We've surpassed the goal to be the most loved and relevant entertainment program. And we want to be Canada's most loved loyalty program for all Canadians. And we're really excited to, build on that vision and to achieve our aspiration for our members to love what's next. We're really excited to share that with all of our members, old and new, as we grow.
Excellent. An important topic we hear from brands in the community is there is an increased interest focus on personalization, from content to rewards to engagement strategies. How have you changed or enhanced your communication strategies to be more relevant and engaging to drive personalization?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It's been such a core focus for us over the years. We're really grateful for the recognition that we've received from Loyalty360 and from others for the work that we've done in personalization over the years. And in the last few years, as we've gone through this transformation, this transformation of the business, we've really had to accelerate our approach. To be ready for the launch of Scene Plus and to be ready to welcome Empire as a owner of the program, we completely rebuilt our data infrastructure. We needed to be in a position to be more scalable. We needed to be able to accommodate the volume and the richness of the data that was going to be coming into the program. And particularly, needed to make sure that we were keeping security and privacy at the center of everything that we do. For an organization like ours, it's jointly owned by these three brands. It's also really important that, we're operating in a way that makes that data accessible in a really controlled fashion to create value for all of the partners. So, as we've gone through that, we've also had to, significantly expand our analytics capabilities and then all the associated marketing and delivery teams. On the kind of the end of that, as we've been building out, a whole new value proposition, we've got this unique challenge. We've got 10 million existing members who know the program either as it was as Scene, or as it was as Scotia Rewards. And then we're welcoming over the next few years, millions of new members into the program. And, part of the opportunity and the challenge for us is to personalize our go-to-market strategy, to really recognize where people are coming from and to personalize the journey that we're going to take them through so we can introduce them into the broader value proposition we've created.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's very unique about your journey. You obviously enhanced the program in a number of ways, but you've also added some complexity, right? You were not just an entertainment program. Not that entertainment is not part of the new program, but you added new constituencies, new owners that have really it speaks volumes to what you've done with the program, but it makes the need for personalization more front and center. You talked about adding staff and adding the analytics capabilities, and you guys seem to do a great job of continuing to add there.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I mean, as you say, it's this unique structure creates the need for some unique solutions. As we're building our marketing and analytics organizations, so too our owners and our partners are on their own journeys to expand all of their personalization capabilities. So as we've been building everything out, we've also had to really focus on collaboration across this ecosystem. Making sure that we're applying a level of thoughtfulness and sophistication so that between all of our communication channels, we're being incredibly considerate of the member, right? And making sure that they are hearing a consistent and cohesive story that represents their needs and their interests. So it's an exciting journey, but it's certainly also been a challenging one.
When you look about the kind of the evolution of the customers, it's a big focus area for many brands, most brands, right? Customers have changed. It changed before COVID, changed going into and coming out of COVID. How do you look at customer evolution, and how are your customers changing? That you've seen an enormous change, especially in the entertainment industry with the pandemic, stay at home, movies on demand, now movies not on demand. How do you look at that, and how does that change the way you've communicated with your customers, and what opportunities does that present?
Yeah, as we've spoken a couple of times, we've had to pivot and then pivot some more. Through the pandemic, almost all of the experiences that we were bringing to market were impacted in a really material way. And our brand was all about being a catalyst, right? A catalyst to bring people together. As we went through the pandemic, we had to, really zero in on what our brand purpose was. We were all about encouraging togetherness and operating in an environment where people couldn't necessarily be together in person. So that created an opportunity for us to, build a new platform, kind of based on the same core principles better together, but allowed us to, identify the opportunities for people to connect with each other depending on their local areas, circumstances. As the pandemic kind of waxed and waned, things were opening and closing, and experiences were shifting from in-person to at home. And so we had to retool our personalization capabilities to really recognize not only what an individual's interests were, but also what was happening in their immediate market. And that required building new partnerships. It required launching new redemption opportunities, new marketing capabilities, to really reflect, the individual and their immediate, the realities in their immediate community. The really good news was that our members were super appreciative, and we were concerned going through all of that about whether we were going to have a level of disengagement, and in fact we didn't. Our members on the whole were remarkably resilient, and as we went out and got feedback from people, they continued to have the love for the brand. And yet we were able to build on these lessons, all the way through COVID. We were working on launching Cineplex, and that meant, being in a position to launch new categories, and then, new ways of personalizing our delivery. So, that the challenges were kind of the crucible, but it has really helped us to strengthen the business through the last 2 years.
Excellent. And last question, somewhat self-serving. What can Loyalty360 do to help you and your team with your customer loyalty journey?
Yeah. Well, one of the things we really appreciate is the opportunity to get together with other brands to, share experiences, share challenges, share successes, give us an opportunity to learn from each other. There's, so much experience in your community that we draw from, not only through the materials that you publish and through the sessions that you organize, but, also, face to face, virtually or in real life with other professionals in the space. So we really appreciate the opportunity to engage with the broader community through Loyalty360.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for that piece of feedback, but also thank you for taking the time to discuss the Scene Plus program, how you've evolved it, and kind of your vision for the future. It's definitely been fun to watch, and we look forward to learning more throughout the next year as you continue to evolve.
Happy to be here, Mark. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for listening today. Make sure you join us back for another edition of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. Have a wonderful day.